Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shouting into the Void. This is a weekly series with Liam, who I'm pretty sure is this way. I got it wrong last time, and I was watching it back and went, "That's wrong." So I think
Oh,
he's this side. If
okay.
he's not, then I look like even more like an idiot. But yes, we discuss Doctor Who on a weekly basis, specifically New Who, which started back in 2005. We've watched series 1, 2, and 3. We're on series 4, which came out in 2008 but is set in 2009, I
Yes.
think, because we haven't reversed the year yet.
Yes.
Oh, but that happens soon, it's right, and only another series of that left. uh,
Yeah.
we are on episode 5 of series 4, which means we're almost halfway through the series now. And this is our first two-parter. This is the second half of that two-parter. It is The Poison Sky. So if you missed last week, the first part, the Sontaran stratagem, then by all means go and check that out. Although I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen the episodes before anyway. So yeah, part 2, we got left with Wilf stuck in a car and gas coming out.
Yep.
That's about it.
Martha's
Uh,
a clone. There's
oh
a
yeah,
clone
oh
of
yeah.
her
Sorry.
about out and about
Yes, Martha is also a clone. Don't forget that. It won't
and
be
has exactly the
painfully
same
obvious.
personality in this one.
um, yes, we'll get right into it. What did you think of this part 2?
It was fine.
Mhm.
It was fine. I preferred part 1
Yep.
overall in the end, which I wasn't expecting, but love a fun twist, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I we talked about this already, but I also struggled for positives, and I don't mean that as in like this is the worst episode of Doctor Who that's ever happened. I just didn't feel very passionate about anything.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't passionately love anything about it per se, apart from like one scene. But I was like, oh, there's two characters in that scene, so I can just talk about two
Spit them out.
characters separately. So that's what I've done.
Nice.
In a way. But yeah, it's I don't
Yep.
know. There's so much in there that I'm like, this didn't need to be here. What is the
Mhm.
point of this? You could have done something more interesting with it. Um, and yeah, it's a few minutes shorter, I think, than like a standard episode as well. I noticed on
Right.
iPlayer. I think it kind of shows with how things wrap up at the end, and it's like,
Yep.
oh,
It's like
and we
we're
also need
done.
to have a scene setting up the next one
Yeah.
because why not?
Mhm.
Free Measurement was credited for an extra episode, so why not? Um, but yeah, it was fine. But I think it's the weakest episode of the series so far for me. And yeah, it did an okay job of wrapping up the story,
Yep.
but I do think it was rather uninspired.
Yes. I think there are things in this that I really like. Um, one big thing in particular, which we'll obviously come on to soon, that I think puts it level for me with part 1.
Mhm.
Um, so, but I still struggle with positives outside of that one. But
Yeah.
that one basically dragged it up and went, look, I'm as good because of this reason, but I'm not going to be any better.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are issues. I do feel it's resolved quite quickly, which we'll come on to. Both the cliffhanger and the ending of the episode, I think both get solved. Like, oh, there we go, we're ready.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. And yeah, there's a couple of character beats, characterizations that I'm not a big fan of, which I'm sure we'll come on to talk about as well. But there are also some really nice character moments in this as well. So it's a real mixed bag.
Mhm.
So as I sort of mentioned last week, I used to really enjoy this two-parter. But I think it's because of, again, the one thing that I really liked in this episode is the reason why I like the two-parter.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, we'll come on to that in a sec, because first, as we do every week, we go through 3 positives ish, if we can make it to 3, and then 3 negatives. Occasionally, there are more than 3. But what is your first positive?
My first is Donna. She was great in this one. I really enjoyed
Mm.
her. I thought Catherine Tate was fantastic in it. She had some emotional beats with Wilf, who, spoiler alert, is my second positive. But yeah, she was great in those kind of moments. But I also liked them just showing how capable she is, kind of getting stuff done. I know the Doctor kind of guided her through a lot of that. But she kind of had the gusto to like, okay, I have to do this. I have to get on with it. Let's go. And she just kind of committed to the bit in the end. Even if she can't pronounce Sontaran, we still love her.
Sontaran.
Sontaran. I almost feel like that rolls off the tongue better, so I don't blame her for saying
it. Does.
Although it does sound like a disease of some kind, like a potato. Well, I suppose it would make sense to be a potato. Maybe there is one. But yeah, I thought she was great in this one. I liked the independence she kind of showcased. I liked the more heartfelt moments, like with Wilf, like the scene where she like hits the doctor for nearly killing himself,
Yep.
But then kind of sits back down next to him and stuff. Just that moments of care and everything. Yeah, she did some good stuff. She was funny. She was kind of heartbreaking as well. Kind of everything I'd want from a companion. I think at this point she really is coming into her own, and I think bringing Martha back into it at this point as well, and still having Donna be capable of doing her own stuff while Martha got kidnapped and turned into a clone and disregarded for most of the story. I think it just showcases like how capable she's kind of becoming, and having her interact with her family again. You know, she's not taking her mum's shit. And she has such a great relationship with Wilf and everything. She was just a really fun aspect. I think whenever she was on screen in this one, I was probably the most invested I was in the episode was kind of the sequences featuring Donna. So well done, Donna.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. She isn't one of mine, unfortunately, but I do agree that I do agree that she was great in this. And yeah, as you said, it shows sort of the vulnerability that she still has as a companion, because I think this is kind of like the first time she's had to properly do something scary without like the safety net of the doctor being around.
Yeah. When she's like, what if they find me? I really felt that. I was like, damn, that's really well delivered.
Yeah, exactly. And that whole sequence where she like finds her footing and she becomes braver, I guess, sets her up more for the second half of the series, with obviously a big episode where she needs to be that kind of brave. And
yeah, you really get the sense. I really like how they set up like she just does not believe in herself. It's like, I can't even change a plug.
Yeah.
I think that was really a really cool kind of setup, I think, for the finale when she kind of gains that confidence and it lasts for all of like 5 minutes. So good stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. So my first positive, this is the big one that drags the whole thing up, is just the Sontaran unit fight scenes. I think they're just excellent. It's excellent action. I love how originally the Sontarans are just absolutely overrunning everyone. They just take no prisoners. They kill everyone in sight. One particular highlight is when that one Sontaran just kills the two mind-controlled unit soldiers, like off screen, but the way that's all shot and they follow the Sontaran, he just turns in his stride, shoots and keeps walking, I think was great. The commander that just relishes the battle, I really enjoy, and I'd like to see more of that kind of thing from the Sontarans, which unfortunately we don't get until Flux, really. And yeah, I just think that they're shot very well. And then when the tide turns again and unit come back in, everything from the Valiant appearing to Colonel Mace's speech to the soldiers coming in and just pushing the Sontarans back, I think it's very well shot action. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it's when I think of this two-part, it's those scenes that I think about. So I probably convinced myself that there was more of that in the two-parter than there actually was. But I just appreciated it a lot. I know Doctor Who's not necessarily a all guns blazing show all the time, but when it does it well between groups of characters that can do it without any consequences, I think it does it really well, especially in this. And yeah, I think for me that's the biggest positive of both parts, but especially this one. So it's unfortunate that it lasts so little time, but I also do appreciate where Colonel Mace is like, face speed, it's just lived
wonderful.
In my memory. Yeah, lived in my memory, that one, because it's just so like, oh no. It's excellent. But yes, so what is your second positive? I mean, it's Wilf, isn't it? So
it's Wilf. Hooray! I mean, every time Wilf's in an episode, he basically should be in my positives. But Bernard Cribbins is so good. I just love his character so much. I think he had a lot of the kind of emotional core of this episode. I like him completely disregarding his daughter's wishes and being like, screw her, Donna, just go with the doctor, because he knows what's best for her and he wants what's best for her. And I love that he's so encouraging of that lifestyle for her. very wholesome. They kind of repeat it again with Rory's dad a few seasons later, and I love Rory's dad as well. Good old Brian. So I really enjoyed that, and his scene with Donna at the end when he's like tells us like sneak away while Sylvia's gone. Be like, oh, go and find the stars and bring them back for your old gramps. And I just want to hug him. Like he brings me to tears like nearly every time. He's just so good. And yeah, I was really the Donna Wilf kind of aspects, I think, were the stuff I was more so interested in this kind of story. So their reunion scene in part 1 was one of my positives there as well. So I'm just such a big fan of that dynamic. And because I needed an extra few positives, I split them in half this time and talked about them both. But yeah, Wilf is just one of, I think, the best characters that New Who's ever had. And moments like that, you think about the Sontaran battles and all of that kind of thing. But, at the heart of it, I think there's the good old Wilf. So yeah, I liked all his stuff yet again, as always.
Yeah, that's fair, because my second point is also Wilf. Specifically, I've written wholesome Wilf. Because even just that where it's just him and Sylvia and you see the sort of impact of the gas, you also see that caring nature with her, even though she's not that nice to him or to Donna. You still see the fact that he's trying to take care of his family, which I really like. And you get that sense every time he's on screen with any character, even in End of Time when it's just him and the Doctor. You still get the sense of he's trying to protect and help his family, which I really like. Bernard Cribbins is great in the role, and he's still alive. So if they want to bring him back,
I can't believe you just said that. I can't believe you just said that. He's like,
I say, when this airs, if when this airs, I have to put a little disclaimer at the bottom, I'll be depressed.
This is like me starting the Golden Girls, and I have 4 episodes in the bag, and then she died.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, yeah. I know.
You've cursed it now.
Probably. I mean, touch wood, it doesn't happen. I'm touching the wood.
Rusty Davies has just finished the script for the 60th with Wilf in it, and now Bernard Cribbins is going to die, and that's on you.
Probably. Let's face it. But yeah, he's great in this. I really like him. I really like his interactions with like every character. How encouraging he is of his granddaughter to go off and explore her dreams. Don't get stuck because you think that your mum might not like you going off. Yeah, I think he's great in this. He is, as I've said, very wholesome, which is great. Doctor Who needs more characters like that. There's very few. Wilf, Rory's dad, obviously, Graham, and I think that's about it.
Yeah,
I think there's not many others.
The core trio.
Yeah, that is
of Doctor Who wholesomeness.
Of Doctor Who dads.
The pillars of wholesome.
Yeah. Well, maybe Pete on occasion, but probably not really Pete either. Basically, any Doctor Who dad is probably pretty nice. Let's face it.
Yeah.
The mums, however.
Clive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The mums.
But it's fine. So in that case, what's your third and final positive? What did you manage to pull out the bag?
Yeah, well, I did actually come up with an extra little one, but it's not like a major one. But my third one, it ties into yours in a way, but it's like the Sontaran's plan/attack strategy. So like the fight scenes I thought were great, but I did like the idea of them turning Earth into a clone planet. I thought that was a neat idea. How it gets stopped, not so much of a fan. Or if it actually, didn't take 30 seconds to undo all of that in a 2-parter. But yeah, I thought that was a clever idea. I like how they did tie it into the classic series with, they're still at war, the Rootons and everything. I thought that was a nice little reference. So that was all very well and good. And I did enjoy, a big part of, my positives last week was General Style in particular. And I thought, he was great again in this one. So yeah, I did like actually learning about their strategy. Ironically, in the episode that wasn't called the Sontaran strategy, we actually learned what they're planning. But that's fine. So yeah, I enjoyed their plan. I thought that was a neat little idea.
That is also my third as well. I just like the concept of them terraforming the planet to suit their needs. It also explains why they were so sneaky, which was obviously a criticism from last week, which I didn't remember would be addressed, but it was point blank addressed as that's a bit sneaky. I was like, hey, that's what I said. So I was glad.
The real plan.
Yeah, I was glad they addressed that, and I was glad that it was a plan that like made sense, and it wasn't just another alien race coming to use Earth as a slave, whatever. Like, you know, we've had seen before. They were doing it for a reason, and they knew there was good stock on Earth to help do that. And I like the visuals of when they've almost done it, how it's like this weird grey, yellowy planet that they've now terraformed. As you mentioned, shame it gets immediately wiped out in about 10 seconds. But you know, that's Doctor Who. It's all build up and then 10 seconds of payoff in every episode.
I looked down at my notepad, made a note, looked up, and they'd stopped it. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. I know.
What?
It's like, oh, all right then. But yeah, I quite liked it. Liked the explanation. Liked that they admitted that they were being sneaky, and that it's not usual Sontaran tactics. Which is great. I did like that. Additional points from me is I really liked Colonel Mace again in this episode.
Right.
I think his speech after the Valiant arrived was quite nice for someone that's not like the hero of the story. I thought it was quite a good speech that would, in a different story, probably be given by the Doctor. Which was good. I think it added some nice character to him. It's a shame we never see him again.
Unfortunately, he was fired.
yeah,
for negligence and
never mind
to the Doctor. That's fine.
Probably. It is a shame we never see him again. You know, I don't see any reason why they never decided to bring him back, because, you know, unless there's an external reason behind the scenes that I'm not aware of. But you know, I thought he was a good character, and I think it really added some you know, good humanness to him, especially when they were talking about the Brigadier as well, and he was like, yeah, I admit he'd probably be better for this than I am, but here we are, we're stuck with this. And as we mentioned last week, he did get the girl as well at the end.
You got the girl.
The girl introduced in this episode had 3 lines and then kisses him.
Hooray.
That's like you turning up to work that you've only been there for 2 weeks, and you've just sealed the deal and you kiss your boss. That's what she did. That's it.
Yep.
Oh god. But yeah, Colonel Mace is
definitely in the Target novelization.
They'll have a nice backstory
that she's a serial killer. She's killed all her previous bosses.
That's why Colonel Mace doesn't return.
Yeah, she just killed them.
She was killed. Oh, yeah, but no. But yeah, I mean,
he got killed by a Sontaran. He was strangled by a Sontaran. They couldn't reach him. They stood on the box.
Yeah, they knocked him down and then just, you know.
It was a very icy patch.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, if they were to turn this into a book, I think it would benefit. Some of the characters would benefit from that kind of treatment, especially I imagine something we'll come on to in our negatives. But did you have any other additional positives?
Just one. I like the continuity of bringing the Valiant into it, and I thought that was quite a clever.
I really like
mini
that
solution to clearing the gas in that area. I thought that was quite clever.
Its engines are powerful enough to clear the gas, but not blow us over.
Yeah, that would have been so funny. What do you think about this?
Oh, no.
Sometimes just walk out, they've all been knocked out, they've been slammed into metal boxes and all sorts.
As soon as sometimes walk out, just go, Phoom!
Yeah, that's how they get stopped. Just blow them over. They just land on their probate vents, getting blown over. Hooray, we did it. Yeah, I thought that was a nice bit of continuity. They didn't need to ever address the Valiant again. I thought that made a lot of sense.
They do it twice in one series. Look at that.
Yeah, and destroy it. Just, I guess the CGI was just too much. It had to be destroyed. But I thought that was a nice bit of continuity, bringing that back into it. So that was fun. Yeah,
I did like that. They had to destroy it, and then because they destroyed it, they had to use a plane for Peter Capaldi. No, you don't get the Valiant, you get a plane.
Yeah, planes are cheaper.
Yeah, well, probably. Don't have to do a whole big CGI.
There's already a CGI render of a plane probably in the archives. So.
Oh, definitely. So unfortunately, that does mean we have to come on to our negatives. Which I think I've kept to 3, but
I have not.
There are some little.
I've got 3 main ones, but I do have a few other little things.
I'll kick us off with something that could be close to the top for you, I would imagine. Clone Martha.
Yep.
Oh yes. Yeah. I mean, if you want to do the clone route, at least try and make the clone not obvious.
Yeah,
because I felt the whole time she interacted with the Doctor, you even if you hadn't seen her for like a year, you'd be like, "Who the hell are you? You are not Martha."
It is between the cliffhanger of part one and the start of this episode, it's a complete personality change. You're just suddenly blank now. It's like they completely forgot that she wasn't like that at the end, because she was kind of doing an okay Martha impression at the end of part one. Now she's just like, I don't care about my family.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna call my family because they're gonna die. Oh yeah. I was like,
and the Doctor knew from the start anyway. I'm just like, what was the point of this?
Yeah.
Like, we get Martha back 14 minutes before the end of the episode. I'm like, come on.
And all she does is put a big coat on, and that's it.
Yeah, it's very wholesome that he gives her the coat.
Yeah.
But still, I'd rather actually just have Martha for this 2-part story. But,
yeah. I feel it's just something that didn't need to be in there, because that's like the whole reason why they wanted UNIT to go to the base was to get Martha, because they even say that that's the asset that they wanted put into the base, wasn't it? Is Martha to get control of the nuclear codes. But then it's like, if the Doctor says, those missiles wouldn't have scratched the Sontaran ship, then why did they need to bother about not firing them?
Yeah,
because it's like, if they could just fire them and then be like, didn't work, and then that would, if anything, that would give you more reason to be like, these Sontarans might be pretty dangerous if we can't even kill them with nuclear bombs. But no, all she's there is to be a triple agent, isn't it? Because she's the Sontaran,
an unknowing triple agent.
Yes,
the Doctor played her. Yeah, so he wanted the thing to be delayed still.
Yeah, but sure. I mean, I wish they didn't go down that route, and I don't think it does. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't need to be in there, really. Like we discussed last time, you just have Luke Rattigan be a UNIT scientist that created Atmos, and that's how they got in. Something like that, or have him hack into the servers. He's clearly smart enough to hack into those nuclear servers. Mickey did it. Mickey hacked into the UNIT website using one password in series 1. I'm sure Luke Rattigan could do it again.
I got very similar vibes as well from the Mickey scene in The Age of Steel to Donna and the phone in this one.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, using that good old trick again. Yeah, like the reuse.
I completely if it ain't broke. Down. Yeah, I said just recycled from Cyberman 2-parter, because it was almost like this is exactly what happened. Where he's like,
if you're gonna bring a classic monster back in the 2-part story for the first time in the revived series, you have to stop them in the same way.
Yeah, and then it's even with that phone call, and it's just coming off it again. What he's saying to Donna wouldn't make sense to the Sontarans. Like, at least in the Cyberman one, it makes sense. Gone,
what the fuck are you talking about?
And then sometimes like, you're communicating, you're failing or something like that. And I'm like, it needs to be double meaning.
It didn't make them look particularly smart. No.
But yeah, anyway, Clone Martha, terrible.
Terrible.
Just not it. And then she's like, she's dead. And it's like a really emotional thing for her to dead. Then she just goes, I'm like, okay. She's gone.
It's very Talia al Ghul dying in The Dark Knight Rises.
yeah.
It was very that vibe. No.
But because they had like a nice bonding moment, and the Clone Martha's like, it's all fading, and you get the impression that she might like live like a day or something. But then she's like,
it's a really nice scene. And then
she's dead. And the Doctor yelling,
"Shut up, Clone Martha!
yeah,
tell me about the gas.
What's the gas? Tell me the gas." And again, the Sontarans, that's such a weak strategic thing, because surely they know the Doctor will try and find that. And surely they know that if the Clone Martha has nothing to live for, why would she stay true to the Sontarans?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But
why make such a bad clone?
literally why make a bad clone? And then also,
you're literally a clone race. You should be better at this.
Yeah. And it also made me laugh when they were like, when Martha stopped the nuclear, or Clone Martha stopped the nuclear bombs, and like, good work for a female. I'm like, she's a clone. You cloned her. You're controlling her. It's had nothing to do with it being a woman.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what that is.
Politics.
It's a thing of goo. It's not even a woman.
Yeah. And all this talk about ozone layers and pollution and everything, lecturing, shoving it down our throats.
This is too much in my 2008 Doctor Who.
What is this? Orphan 55.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to airing as we're recording this.
Oh, God. I mean, it's not that bad, at least.
I can't wait to get to that episode. In 2025.
It'll be a while. I might have given up by then. Depends how Russell's return goes. No.
You've killed my love of the show
Oh.
with retiring this series.
Yeah, basically. But yes, was your first one Clone Martha as well?
It was Clone Martha. It just felt a bit, why bring Martha back just to do this with her? I know we see her in another 3 episodes this season, which is great, because she actually, in a way, gets stuff to do in those episodes.
She has her side plot in the next one.
Yeah, I think that's her best use in series 4 is actually her side plot with Hath, because and of course can't forget German woman from Journey's End. That fun, interesting side plot she goes on. That comes down to absolutely nothing because they just teleport her there anyway. But yeah, I don't know if it's the writing that changed or Freema's performance, or was she told to be that way? But it's a completely different clone character to how things ended off with her. So that just doesn't work from the off. The Doctor knew from the off anyway that she was a clone. So I'm like, what is the point? I know it is so he kind of uses a triple agent and stuff, but I feel like he could have just worked around that anyway.
Just taking the phone and being like, there we go, bye clone.
Yeah, it's just very strange to be like, oh, Martha's back, and then we don't really get Martha for most of the story. It's kind of a shame. And yeah, even when we do get some nice stuff with it, which is when Martha's talking to the clone, it's immediately cut off.
The gas.
And yeah, it's not my favorite subplot, and it could have gone on to better, more interesting things, I would assume. But there you go, it happened, but I wasn't a big fan.
No, fair enough. So my second one, which again might come near your negatives, is the resolutions. First of all, the cliffhanger resolution just smashes the window.
It's the most obvious solution.
Yeah, it is. It is like, fair enough, fine, that would happen.
People were shouting that at the screen at the end of episode 4. That's just how this was.
And then it's like, oh, we'll just push the cars out of the building.
It's the same vibe of Survivors of the Flux, where swarms like that towards the Doctor, and the resolution is she runs away.
It is. And then or the pushing the cars is the Patrick. What if we take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else? But yeah, the cliffhanger resolution was just be like, okay, we just needed a cliffhanger to split the episode.
Yeah,
because Wilf is in the car for a ridiculous reason anyway. There's no need for him to get in the car to start with. It's just fine. And then of course Sylvia just has an axe that she can just bring out. And then the Wilf doesn't have any cuts because of the glass breaking right in his face. But okay.
He's still different.
Yeah, clearly. And then again, the resolution to the episode as a whole, I guess they could just burn the gas. And luckily, no
melt all the buildings on Earth.
Luckily, because it's even
killing
like
hundreds and thousands.
The one in New York, you see the flame go across the Chrysler building. It's like, hang on a minute. What?
It would have been fun if you just see it start to burn.
It stops. It's just melted a little bit. But
they used up the budget on the Valiant. So
clearly. It's just solved quickly. And then what made me laugh was when it's like, I'm going up to the Sontaran ship. I've tuned it to Sontaran air. I'm like, isn't that normal air? Because you and Luke have been able to breathe. Donna's been able to breathe up there, so surely it's just air.
Yeah.
Like, just say I've rigged it to explode. Done. Just say that. And then it's just that also leads into Ten's always ready to kill himself. It seems like every time there's a cliffhanger, it's like, right, guess I'll die. And they just guess I'll try and kill myself and hope something changes. And Luke Rattigan, we'll come on to him again, but him and his lab is just convenient. Like, I feel again, we'll come to it, but he's the only reason there, so they have a lab, even though they have this whole factory and the whole unit lab that they could have just done the same thing for, especially considering there's a teleport in there anyway. But yeah, and as you mentioned, you think, oh, they're going to do it, right, send it down. It's the end of the episode. They've done it. Okay. It's just it's too quick for a two-parter, but every Doctor Who seems to always have a resolution that takes about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just the way I think the show is. You have all the interesting stuff isn't how they solve it. It's not like Sherlock where you can try and figure it out along the way. It's not that kind of a show. it's one where it's like action, character stuff, and there we go, we've solved it. On to next week for more action, more character stuff, and that kind of stuff. But what can you do? Well, I mean, I guess you can make it better, but
you could write a good resolution.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the whole thing of how do you retract that? How do you retract the gas? You can't. There's, how else are you going to get rid of it other than big fans? Yes, whack out the absorber off, get the slab up. There you go.
Go on, Ursula.
I'm sure.
Deep breath now.
Let's get the prisoner back out and let's just hold the prisoner there, and he can absorb the gas. Yeah. So
or maybe just use a different effect than setting it on fire.
I
don't know, just like have it evaporate or something.
Yeah, exactly. So what is your second negative then? Is it also the resolutions?
No, that's like my extra little. That's one of my extra ones. Nice. My second one is Luke and his student plotline.
Third. Yeah.
Again, comes down to absolutely nothing and didn't need to be in there. General Stahl has a line in the episode saying, "We only needed you to install the Atmos on the cars," and that is literally why he's in this story.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that is pointless. You were there for setup, not to be a character. There's plot line with all the trying to get his students to stay, and just oh buddy, stop, you're embarrassing
you made a terrible choice here.
And just again,
you're just sick.
Come down. And it's just there so he can then turn on the Sontarans, which everyone's going to see coming anyway. And he was there to introduce the Atmos system, which again could have been a unit scientist doing that.
Actually, it's not Atmos system, it's just Atmos, because of the whatever it was that he almost died for. I can't remember what he said.
Well, he is dead now. So
yeah.
And speaking of that, I think he's also just there. It's just kind of a cop out for the Doctor's sacrifice, because they just need someone else to burn himself up. But I did like that he threw Sontaran back in their face, but it wasn't worth it for the cringy cliffhanger with him joining in with them last week. And I didn't appreciate them putting that again in the previously trailer. I didn't need that. I didn't need to see that again. But yeah, the whole plotline with him, and just this is a waste of screen time. I'm clever than all of you.
I'm clever.
Yeah.
And then
he teleports back and he's crying in the chat. I'm I don't care about you. You deserve all of this. You're weird.
Yeah.
You should be locked up.
Yeah. Don't, if you tell anyone I did anything, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, he's absolutely one of those snakes. So yeah, wasn't a big fan of that. He was very much a means to the end, and the script literally calls him out for being that. And I'm okay. Pulling that out doesn't mean it's good, right?
yeah. No, that's fair. He's also mine. I put just cannon fodder. Basically, he's there to be the scapegoat. And as I mentioned last week, I wish there was more. I wish the Sontarans had actually taken him under their wing, and it wasn't a cop out. Because I thought that was quite interesting how the Sontarans were sort of admiring his aptitude for war and destruction and stuff, and I thought they'd do something similar to what they how they work with the Grand Serpent in Flux. I thought it would have been more of that kind of relationship, but it turns out not to be. It probably also would have been more interesting if his scientist friends were in on it, and they were, it was more like a cult thing where they were preparing for the end of the world and preparing to go rather than unknowingly doing it. I think that probably would have been better for the characters. And then you could have the Sontarans, they all arrive on the ship, you have the Sontarans kill them, and that's when Luke realizes he's been betrayed, and therefore then that's, I think, a better, more well-rounded character rather than a petty child that isn't getting what he wants, so kills himself.
Kind of dark, but
well, there's it, isn't it? It's effectively a case of,
but they never explore that.
No,
they never explore that, and that's the
they
interesting part.
They have him cry, and that's it.
Or having the Doctor be in that position with this button to potentially cause genocide again. It's just unexplored. It's a shame. But.
I think he's just they could have done so much more with him, even if they kept him alive and the Doctor didn't have to, there wasn't a suicide switch. If they kept him alive, they could have had him go on and do something else later in the show, similar to the Mr. Copper Foundation comes back at the end of this, which is obviously a reference to Mr. Copper. They could have done something similar for this. Just say in series 4 it was a Rattigan funded whatever to help with the whatever, and it shows, that's a better character development than, oh, I've not got what I want. If people find out I'm dead anyway, I'm going to go and kill myself, which is effectively how his character goes. Because
you drowned a journalist, you son of a bitch.
Basically, because it is a case of he doesn't want to like live with his consequences, so selfishly he goes and makes himself, or probably in his eyes, be the hero because he takes out the ship. Yeah, and again, that leads back to my point: is Ten is always ready to kill himself. He's just waiting for somebody to jump in a spot before him. Even with the Ood, he was like, "Come on, Ed, kill me! I'm locked in the cage." A number of times, series
Evolution
3,
of the Daleks.
Yeah, he's like, "Come on, I'm ready to die." It's like, come on, mate. Even Donna's first episode, Runaway Bride, ready to drown. He's just any and every opportunity, he's ready to die. It's okay, buddy. Only 10 more episodes to go, and you're almost there. You don't want to die then, but you do now.
It's true.
But yes, what is your third, technically final, but your third negative?
Yes, my main one. Speaking of the Doctor, I think some of the Doctor's characterization seems a bit off in this one. I thought he was written kind of oddly.
It felt like he was fed up.
This felt like time on Victoria's Doctor a bit too soon at times. I felt this is a bit premature, and not in like a foreshadowing kind of way. It's just out of character kind of way for this point. When he's like, "Shut up, clone. Tell me about that," and he's just so callously, without second thought, just like, "You're dead." I know he has to do it to get Martha back, but he could at least go, "You say I'm so sorry to everyone. Why not to this clone?"
And then he doesn't check to make sure. I mean, obviously he knows, but he doesn't check to make sure that Martha's not going to be hurt in removing that head thing. I assume he knows. He must know to just rip it off. But
and he like gets this guy's phone. He's like, "Hurry up, give me the phone." I'm like, "Calm down, buddy." And with the whole clone thing, he's just like, it's been bred from this war, and he's just so callously dispatches of it. But
I wonder if he'll change his tune in the next episode.
I suppose it's not going to come about that another clone bred from war is going to come around and actually start defending it or anything. But because it comes from him, it's a completely different situation by the end of the next episode. It's just a bit like, wow, that's such a huge character change, because we literally see from the ending of this episode, the next episode happens literally right after this, in this long chain of events, and suddenly his mind is completely changed because it's his DNA that gets involved in it ultimately. And I'm just like, some of the occasions he would have had sympathy, like all the clones in New Earth, he has sympathy for them straight away. He doesn't have it here. It just seems a bit of a mismatch and a bit off in this particular episode, which is kind of odd and a shame. But again, what can you do?
And he also has, I get he's annoyed at Luke Rattigan, but he just has no, it's as if he doesn't see him there at all. I don't think he addresses him except for when he takes the gun off of him as soon as he walks through the portal, the teleport, whatever.
And he's like, do something clever in your life, plant the seeds to get him to kill himself.
Yeah, exactly. I think in other, if there was more time in the episode and they didn't have to resolve it in like 10-20 seconds, there could have been a good moment there where the Doctor speaks to Luke and there's a conversation about what happened and how you can make up for it and what you need to do to make up for it and all that kind of stuff. And then again, that would make Luke taking his place feel a little bit more deserved, and a little bit more of a payoff. But because the Doctor's just sort of dismisses him straight away, even before they've entered the building in the part 1, he's dismissed Luke as just some spoiled rich kid that's got a bit of brains, which I think is probably where Luke's whole character falls apart straight away, is when the Doctor's like, I don't care about you, so therefore the audience won't care about you.
So he makes such a big deal about Ross and like how great Ross is, and his name was Ross, not and he's just so flip-flopping between all the characters in this one. Meanwhile, kill yourself, Luke. Bye.
Luke's dead, sorry. There can only be one Luke in the Doctor Who universe, and it's not you.
And he's showing up in the finale, so you gotta go.
You have the shoe. Maybe they meant Luke from this episode in the finale, but then the writer killed him. It's like, oh, quickly change it, quick.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
But yeah, I do agree that the Doctor is a bit flip-floppy. I think, well, not even flip-floppy, just completely. I think I get the impression just didn't want to be there. Like it got to a point where they're like, I don't care anymore. I just want to stop the Sontarans and leave. That's the big feeling I got as soon as he returned to the unit base.
It was very
Martha was a clone.
Yeah, it was very what the plot needed him to do rather than what the character would do. I think with this episode.
Yeah, although I do appreciate the "i.e. my mummy" joke. I do think that's very funny, whether that's writing or improvised, whichever one it was. I think
I've got a fun fact about it that confirms it, so you will find
out. But it's great either way. My sort of additional little negative bits, the three finger thing, where they're just like, oh, I guess it works. I'm like, so does that mean it's based on pressure?
That's such a shit security system.
It doesn't make sense.
That could just be any shape then. Yeah. Actually, you don't need
I've got 3 hot dogs.
You don't need to be a Sontaran to get into the Sontaran ship.
Yeah.
Like,
fine, I get it. But at least like maybe have a glove next to it, or knock out the Sontaran, take his glove off, or even drag him and hold him up and do that. Something like that.
They literally had that on a plate for them to do to make it less ridiculous, but they didn't do it.
It's fine, I guess.
And it would have been hilarious to see Donna try and drag that Sontaran over there. That's physical comedy gold.
A wide shot of just her slowly dragging it across the screen. That would have filled up plenty of time.
Why did Donna not put on the suit? That could have been such a great
thing. It's like really short here and that sits on top of the head.
Every sometimes, and you just see like extra long arms just poking. Don't look at me. You just see this ginger hair poking out the helmet.
Oh, it's only a matter of time before that happens, guaranteed.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh god. And then sort of my other little negative, it's not really a negative, but the unnecessary Rose cameo in this, to be like, hey, don't forget, don't forget, we teased Rose a couple of episodes ago. Don't forget she's coming. She's still there.
I haven't mentioned her in 3 whole episodes.
I know. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, she appears on the screen again, but it does feel like they were like, we've not done anything big plot-wise for the past few. We need to remind people there's something to keep watching the series for. You remember Rose? You like Rose? She's coming back.
Of course you remember Rose.
And
I don't think they ever explain like why she does that and how she does that.
I want to say it's probably going to get explained in Turn Left because the walls of dimensions
if there's any episode
are
breaking
down or something. Yeah.
Like, how do you just like hack into the TARDIS screen?
Well, they've got in Donna's universe, they've got the TARDIS, haven't they? But I don't know how. It probably doesn't get, the specifics won't get explained, but I imagine it's a case of dimensional barriers get broken down because of the Daleks using the reality bomb, even though they get stopped by doing the reality bomb. But did it still do a reality bomb in another universe? Who knows?
That's how she can get through. I just don't get why she does the screen thing and how that works.
Well, she's gonna do it again, so get used to it.
Yeah, well, that's what they filmed that for.
Oh yeah, you can tell. But yeah, it's fine, I guess. So what were your other sort of little nitpicks?
I had like the three thing the door thing. I just put it under technology does plot stuff because we had that.
We
have Luke somehow rewiring the thing.
Oh, don't forget
something clever.
Don't forget they managed to get new guns.
And new guns. Yeah,
top of the range guns. You said in the first time. The Doctor knows there's a Chord Lane signal. Don't send Ross back into the building knowing his guns aren't going to work.
He's like, I actually do hate soldiers, Ross. You're going to die.
Yeah. Sorry, Ross.
Yeah, don't send them into battle. They'll be slaughtered. Off you go, Ross.
See you later. Don't fight them. Fight them.
But yeah, there's a few things like that, and obviously the Doctor putting that thing together to like stop this 2-part plot in seconds. And Luke wiring up the pod to like swap them somehow, like whatever. So there's a few things like that. And just how quickly things were resolved. Kind of a shame how that all played out. So a few extra little bits, but
never mind. Again, I still don't want to take away. I really like the Sontaran battle sequence. Like, I will emphasize this enough now.
I just want to make it known.
I want to make it very clear that as much as I've gone, I did like this or this, for me still, just the Sontarans and unit fighting has wiped out my negatives.
Yeah. As we have talked about before, as much as we shit on some episodes, it's still at the baseline. It's always Doctor Who, So I always enjoy it to an extent anyway.
Yeah,
So
there's very few episodes.
I'll never
that
give
are
an
bad.
episode like, I don't think I'd ever give anything like a 1 or a 2.
Oh, well,
Ever.
we'll see.
I really don't think so.
You don't reckon? Not Kill the Moon?
No. If I didn't give Love and Monsters a 1 or a 2, I don't think I'm going to give anything else a 1 or a 2.
I mean, well, we'll come on to it when we come on to it. But
We'll
I think
see.
there are
I'm more than happy to do it.
I will
Don't get me wrong. I will do it if the episodes are bad. But I just like watching Doctor Who, so I don't think I'm ever going to be like that was a 1 out of 10 episode.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do it, especially not on the first watch. I'll never be like, this was terrible. But I think going through them all again, you definitely see ones that are worse.
The cracks appear,
yeah. However, I think the difference between Love and Monsters and Kill the Moon, going off on a little tangent, is Love and Monsters at least has the meme ability that has come out of it, whereas Kill the Moon doesn't have that going. I mean, it might change by the time we get to it. There could be a big Kill the Moon resurgence, but
at least for Kill the Moon, they have that great scene with the Doctor and Clara fighting at the end, which I think is fantastic. And Jenna Coleman's amazing in that scene because Jenna Coleman's amazing.
Yeah, but there's also that girl in it.
That girl.
I can't remember her name. The student.
Oh fuck! I forgot about Courtney.
There you go.
Shit. Okay, yeah, 1 out of 10.
And the Moon's an egg. And the Moon's an egg. So.
I think the Moon's and Eggs kind of been named quite a bit. There's some ability to that. It's ridiculous and dumb.
Yeah, maybe.
Courtney's by far the worst part of that episode. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, like even with Orphan 55, at least you've got Benny that Benny became a meme out of it. So that's got
doesn't sound like my Benny.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, this week I don't think was anywhere near as bad as those episodes we've just mentioned. By a long way, I should think.
Yes. Well, I'm holding out hope on Kill the Moon, but I doubt it. But I can't say yet that this episode is better or worse than it because I haven't rewatched it for this.
Yeah. And then by the time we get to Kill the Moon, we'll forget about this one.
Yeah, we'll forget we even.
It's the way it works. But yes, before we rate the episode, what fun facts have you got?
Oh yes, I do have some. Let's have a look. When the Doctor cuts off General Styles' speech, a clip from CBeebies cartoon Tommy Zoom is used. The original plan was to use a clip from Shaun the Sheep, but this fell through. And I'm very sad about it because I love Shaun the Sheep.
Shaun the Sheep would be more recognisable as well, especially for international audiences.
Yes, quite so. Billie Piper appears briefly as Rose and is fourth billed in the credits for a performance lasting less than 1 second and was actually shot for midnight. After the success of Rose's cameo in Partners in Crime, Russell T Davies reused the clip here. Advanced review copies of the episode did not include this scene, much like the cameo in Partners in Crime. Why did you do it, Russell? Why did you do it? This is the first story to feature Rose, Martha, and Donna, though not the first to feature all the actresses, as they appeared in Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. So there you go. It's a fun fact. This is my favourite fact. Douglas McKinnon, the director, wanted the time rotor to move up and down faster than usual in the climactic scene. In trying to achieve this, he broke the prop, and it took 30 minutes to repair. I would be mortified. And somehow he was invited back several times. So I guess they liked him enough. Donna was originally meant to use a shoe to knock out the Sontarans, but since Catherine Tate only ever wore trainers, they felt it'd be too soft to realistically do it. So they had her use the TARDIS mallet instead.
Who does that? I'm sure somebody sticks the shoe in a...
Maria's mum in Sarah Jane Adventures.
That's it. There you go. I'd seen that one recently, which is why I thought of it. Yeah.
And there you go then. After this,
that must be where it was used then.
So, yeah, that's
amazing.
And then finally, it was actually a myth that David Tennant improvised the "Are You My Mummy" line. Yeah. It originally came from a post on Tumblr that went viral in the early 2010s. So
yeah, you go. I remember the post, and then I did see something was trending on Twitter today, not today, this week, saying that it wasn't improvised. I was like, oh, okay, it wasn't. Sure.
No,
I don't care.
So there you go.
Good writing either
Popular
way.
myth disposed. Yeah, it's a shame about the rest of the writing, really. But
yeah. Good. That's your one good line this episode. That and wonderful that's it. Those are the two lines.
Wonderful. And obviously, all of Wilf's stuff was great.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to shit on the writing really, because the episode's fine. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I think could have been better. It's just messy.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the writing; it's the plot.
Yeah.
You can have a bad plot.
Which was written.
Yeah, but you can the plot. You have the plot outline, then you're right.
It was Rose's less than 1 second appearance.
Yeah, that's what ruined it. Oh god. But yes.
That being said, 8 out of 10. No, what should I give it? I don't want to be too harsh with it, really, because it is just fine. And again, a lot of the things that I didn't like, a lot of them are like little things. I think I'll go for a 6, which is quite the downgrade on my rating for part 1, but it's fine. It's there. But I do think the Donna and Wilf moments for me make it just above average. So I think I'll give it a 6.
For me, I'm sticking with what I gave part 1 with a 6.5.
Nice. Easy to look at the average score for you.
Yeah.
For this
so they're exactly level. Again, I think there's more individual things for part 1 that I like. Part 2, as I mentioned, I really like the Sontaran battle sequences. So that's what's put it up. I think if they weren't as good and if it was a bit bland and it wasn't as extravagant as it was, if it was only like a few soldiers versus like 4 Sontarans, it probably would have got less.
Yeah.
But I think it drags it up to at least put it level. You fix the clone plot and, you maybe sort the resolution out a little bit and you're probably looking at a solid 8, I would say. But
yeah.
Unfortunately, not every episode is an 8. So
yeah, I went into this story thinking, I remember this being an okay story.
Yeah.
And it was an okay story.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
It wasn't disappointing in that sense, I suppose.
And I mean,
just when you look at it as an episode.
What I remember liking about this 2-parter, I still really liked, and it's all I'm going to remember for this 2-parter moving forward anyway. So, so nothing has really changed. But with that being said, it does mean we're on.
That being said, I'll never watch this again.
yeah, probably not for a while at least. We are on to.
Speaking of episodes, I wish I didn't have to watch again. Let's talk about next week's episode.
Episode 6, The Doctor's Daughter. It sees our companion trio now. Our TARDIS trio. The Doctor, Donna, and the unwilling companion Martha.
Kidnapped Martha.
Taken to Malacasser. Is that it? Something like that, isn't it?
Mescaline, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Maybe Malacasser might be.
It begins with them.
Utopia.
It definitely begins with them.
They get taken to a planet where we meet Gendry and David Tennant's future wife.
Yeah, she certainly calls him daddy now.
Yep. Oh, yeah, because they have about 4 kids.
Yeah.
That's what you meant.
I can't wait to read the fun fact explaining the whole Peter Davis and David Tennant mess. That's going to take me ages to write that one down. Oh, God's sake.
Oh, but
the Doctor's daughter is literally the Doctor's daughter.
Is the Doctor's wife, but also is. But yeah, it sees them travel to this planet where there seems to be a war going on. It seems to be endless. They make new soldiers using skin from their current soldiers to be like clone things. Because it's war, the Doctor has to say no. But unfortunately, as soon as they arrive, the Doctor gets a bit of his skin taken and he gets cloned. And this time it's a woman. A woman? The Doctor's turned into a woman. No, not yet.
A badass female character in my Doctor Who.
Unbelievable.
God.
But yeah. Throw me. Women in my Doctor Who. Oh. But yeah, I mean, what do you remember of the episode?
I remember it being my least favorite episode of series 4.
Nice.
So I'm hoping it will pleasantly surprise me instead. I love the Hath. I think they're great. I adore them. I love Martha's subplot with Hath Peck, even though it breaks my heart because it's like proper never-ending story stuff.
Yeah.
And I loved everything with that. Outside of that, I was like, it's okay.
I completely forgot this story was here, and then we got to the next time, and I went, oh yeah. I was yes, that's next.
The mid-series slump episode.
Yes, it always happens. It always comes.
But after that, good things, because it's the memeable Unicorn and the Wasp, and then it's like, holy shit, this season actually is good. After that,
but yeah, I'm hoping I will be surprised. I can't remember too much about it other than like
I remember like next to nothing.
And yeah, I mean, Jenny still hasn't come back in the universe.
The source. That's what I remember. Like I saying the source again and again and again.
There's some really good characters, some really good Doctor stuff, I think, towards the end. Obviously, especially surrounding his dead daughter. Who's not dead, because could she regenerate? We're not going to stick around and find out. Bye.
Bye.
Gendry can deal with that. But
Yeah.
no, he's going to Game of Thrones. It's too late.
Gendry is her companion.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I think she's only come back in Big Finish at the minute, so there's still scope for her to come back to the show.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is a fun fact I already remember having.
Yeah.
Is that Stephen Moffat requested that they not kill her because she was originally just going to stay dead, so that he could bring her back, and then he had her brought
up.
Which is fair enough.
Why there's not? Still time. Russell's coming back, so you never know.
I think. I mean, that was probably during production. Then the episode aired, and a lot of people didn't like it. So he's like, "Oh, maybe not."
Yeah, maybe to be fair, but I think a lot of people have simmered on it now. I think there have been calls for her to come back.
It's the glory years of Doctor Who to a lot of people now, so they probably just stay with things.
And then she'd come back and people would complain.
Yeah,
especially if it was a female Doctor with a female companion. Then Jenny comes back and says, three women. It's the TARDIS, 3 women. Oh,
heaven forbid!
What
3
is this,
whole
Golden
women
Girls?
are on a TV show. There's 4 Golden Girls.
No, I know.
We need a 4th one.
River's back. No.
There we go. She was on the one show this week and said she wanted to be back in it.
I did see that. I did see that before the football was on. I was watching the one show like, oh, what's going on here? Discovery of Witches is what she was promoting, if anyone's interested. Yes. Not that I've seen it.
It's very good, I've heard.
Yes, same. But Amy read the book and she went there. Oh. Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows? Just watch what
maybe the show's better than the book.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, that I think will do it for this week. We've rattled on long enough. Hopefully, the Sontarans' next appearance will be better. I think they appear. Well, no, sorry. The next time they appear, the Doctor knocks him out on a gang walk. At the end of Time Part 2, when he's doing his goodbye tour.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Then the next time they appear is the Pandorica, isn't it? They're part of the soldiers.
Yes, and I get the guy who played General Star back for 5 minutes.
And nice. Then it's Strax.
Then it's Good Man Goes to War.
Yeah, Strax.
Yes. Not quite that one yet.
No, we've got a while yet, but still. Yep, that'll be it for us.
I can produce magnificent quantities of lactic fluid.
Oh, so get the memory worm. The what? I've got the memory worm, sir. Strax, where's the memory worm? That. The what? The memory worm.
Oh,
what a man. Oh, anyway, that's sadly a long way in the future.
Yeah, that's quite.
I mean, we'll probably get there by the end of this year. So who knows? Stick around for Strax if you want that.
But I think we'll definitely get to Good Man Goes to War for sure.
Yeah, I would think so. But we'll find out soon, won't we? Eventually,
it'll take like half a year to do like 2 series. So
yeah, we'll be right. We should be there.
Yeah, we'll probably get there.
We'll find out, won't we? Anyway, we will be back.
What else can we talk about?
We'll be back next week for the Doctor's Daughter. We're not doing anything else currently. There's no Marvel shows. There's no Marvel shows on. No,
there's not.
There's no new Doctor Who out yet. So yeah, this is it for now. But yeah, that's it. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.